Welcome to another episode of Health Your Way podcast, where we discuss health issues ranging from physical, mental, emotional, as well as current facts. Today, we're going to be discussing grief does not exclude men. And my guest, Kirsten Frey, who is a transformation life coach, an advanced certified grief recovery specialist. Today, we really want to dive into, some of the issues men deal with, some of the stuff that we women do not know or don't acknowledge, and some of the and just a basic understanding that men do grief, even though they may not show it. We need to be open and we need to actually acknowledge it. So I really want to say thank you for reaching out to me and, joining me in this conversation. So I'm saying hi, girl.
Hi, Mo. It's so great to be with you again. I really appreciate this opportunity. And honestly, this platform for opening up this discussion for men is so important, especially now. Like, it just really is. And I think as we're heading into the winter and holiday seasons, I think when we can touch in with one another and really be open and aware as to what might be going on for people, including the men in our lives, and how we can actually help with that, how we can have a greater awareness on how grief affects the men in our lives as well.
As we are aware, November is considered Movember. Is it Movember? Yes, right?
It is.
And I find that, 1 month of identifying men's issues like mental health, health issues, stuff like that, I don't think it's enough. Like me personally, I think a lot of our issues we have as society has to do with the lack of acknowledgement of some of the issues men have that stems up and being put on women, and women have those issues because it's a byproduct of some of the issues men have that have not been addressed. Girl, I saw your head going, yes! I saw your head going, yes!
Yes, girl, preach it all the way. And this is the thing, because we keep it from separation, right? And there's the ripple effect from all of this. So can you imagine if this was taught in schools, if the more effective way of opening up these conversations that little boys and little girls, because let's face it, there's no girl sad and boy sad. There's just sad.
But then then you have family and very old mentality thinking, oh, talking about feelings, you're gonna make my boy weak, you're gonna make him look and act like he's a girly girl. Like that's the ingrained in a lot of people's mind. And you see it on TV now. You see a lot, like I'm just like, really? Like, do you know what you're setting up your child for?
And this is the problem, because these misconceptions have become generational, because it's
Yes.
and I'm not here to slag anybody's parents or anything else
Fair
like
enough.
that.
This is just
But you can't teach what you don't know. And so
fair,
that's
yeah.
what they heard from their parents and their society and their community that they lived in. Right. So we can only teach what we know. And so when you don't have an awareness, when you haven't been able to do your own healing, you just don't understand that there could be a different way. It's a shift in perspective. And being shown that there are effective tools, that you don't have to sit in the dark by yourself in this dark space, right? With these heavy emotions that we will feel throughout our lives. I mean, if we deny the painful feelings that we have, and again, not just grief, but, anger, sadness, frustration, bitterness, resentment, guilt, shame, like all of those feelings, if we don't acknowledge those and allow ourselves to feel them, we're not going to also be able to feel the other end of the spectrum, which is the joy and the fun and the curiosity and the eagerness and the compassion and the empathy. You can't selectively numb your emotions. So if you're choosing to numb this end of the spectrum, you will never be able to fully step into your life fully expressed and emotionally free. You will live in this very safe, very small, controlled box until something happens that makes you realize that that control never really existed in the first place.
I feel like you're talking to me like a few years ago, like maybe like 3 years ago. Honestly, like I look at myself who I am to what I before, and I think you mentioned the tools, and I know that you use grief recovery methods. Yes. I'm wondering, the method itself, is it? I don't. Is it? Can it be used on men as well? I know that it sounds like maybe a stupid question, but some people assume that certain type of methods are only identified for women and men. I just want to understand if it could be universal.
It absolutely is. This is an evidence-based education program, so it's not therapy or counseling, but it has been around for 40 years, helping people who have been experiencing loss for 40 years. It was created by a griever for grievers. And so while I don't work with children or anybody under the age of 18, this is for anyone else other than that. And I think it's important what you said. This The method that I use is, it's well informed. It has a great deal of success, but you have to be ready to do this work. You'll have to come to it in your own time. It's not for everyone, just like so many other things aren't. But for the people that are ready and willing and courageous enough to do this work, the results are transformative, truly, not just from the loss that you've come to experience and get emotionally complete with, but the ripple effect of how you show up for others then as a support, because now you'll understand, your understanding is just so much more at this point. So the grief recovery method has honestly been the best thing that has ever happened to me, not just from my business perspective, but as a human being, and being able to heal my relationships, not just the ones that have happened in the past, but also anyone's coming in the future. Those tools are lifelong tools. You will have them forever.
I like that. I think as a society, everybody's walking with some form of baggage. Like everybody's walking with some form of baggage, and it's sad. Even me, I'm walking with my own baggage. Like when you talk about grief, like I don't think I've healed 100% from other issues I've dealt with when I was younger and my past relationships. I think some of it, who I am as a person, a lot of my characteristics is based on how I was treated or how I reacted or how let someone treat me. So it's hard. I am self-aware of it. I am. And I think once you're self-aware of it, you can make sure that you don't repeat the same mistakes or maybe realize what's your trigger point. It takes two. I find it takes two. It really does. Like, in any relationship, it takes two. I can't be the victim. I participated. And if the participation means that I chose to be in that relationship, even though I knew it was bad for me, I have to take acknowledgement that I put myself in that situation. And I taught that person how to treat me. You know what I mean? So
I do.
I'm
I
sorry,
totally understand. No, you've said that beautifully. And there's so many of us that have done that, right?
yes.
Like I can look back on my life and there's certain situations I totally created them. I was a participant in that situation. But the key is we have to remember we can't be too hard on ourselves either, because again, you don't know what you don't know. So if you were never given the effective tools to manage painful feelings, relationships, experiences that you have as a human being going through life, then of course you're only going to be able to adapt and cope in whatever ways that you're able to discover for yourself. The key is we can resolve our grief naturally by ourselves, just by our own natural skills and abilities. It's the losses where we're still emotionally incomplete. Those are the ones that keep us stuck. Those are the ones that keep us stuck, repeating the same patterns of behavior, the same relationships of behavior over and over and over again. So if you are naturally completed a loss, then that's wonderful. It's when you haven't been able to do that and don't know how to do that. That's where I can help people.
And you know what? When you say that, I like the clarity. Like, there's a lot of people I'm thinking, and there's a lot of people that are really like they don't even know they're stuck. They don't know, like they don't understand. And you sit there and you're like, but you do know and you watch them and you're just like, you need somebody. You need to talk to somebody. You need to talk to out of your circle because your circle is messing you up. And before I go further, if somebody was interested in reaching out to you, because I honestly think a lot of people need help. I'm sorry. I know it's not funny, but I'm just like, I sit there and I'm like, yes. As a personal trainer, some of these people out there, it's not about training. A lot of them have some issues and they need to address that. And as a trainer, I'm not your psychiatrist. I can't be, but I can be your support. Like I can help you. And I feel like they need to see somebody like you because I think they're dealing with a lot of grief and they haven't healed.
Yeah, and they just haven't really, they haven't recognized that what they're feeling is actually grief.
Yes.
They're just not aware. And I was that way as well. I didn't
Yes.
recognize that I had unresolved grief, and that was keeping me from actually the connected relationships that I wanted with the people in my life. Because again, I had this very sort of stoic, always got her crap together person, like always the one that people came to for help. But that wasn't the truth of it. It was this facade. It was partly the truth of who I am. We are strong as individuals, but we're also vulnerable as individuals. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's part of the whole. We have to understand and accept ourselves as the whole. And so If somebody was interested in learning more about the grief recovery
platform,
method,
yeah.
yep, then what I would say is please visit my website at www.tlclifecoaching.com. I'm happy to anybody that's listening to your podcast, if they would like a free ebook on the 6 myths or misconceptions around grief that will dig into it a little bit deeper than what we had a chance to do today. I'm happy to share that with you, and you can put that on your podcast link. That would be great. And I'm also on Facebook as Transitions Life Coaching, or on Instagram as TLC Life Coaching.
Thank you. I'm going to add that to the post. I like that. Because I sit here and when you say grief, I think grief is, people don't understand what the word grief is really. Again, people don't understand the concept of what grief is. Because when you said that, we're stuck in that place, you're used to being this, I didn't realize I was stuck in that place. I didn't until 3 years ago. I didn't realize that. I think I'm gonna go back. Honestly, if my boyfriend don't think you're big, okay? Listen carefully. It's not here. I'm just letting you know.
Well, it's kind of a big deal.
No, I know it's not a big deal. Just let you understand this. I'm speaking to you because I know. Let you understand this. I think if it wasn't for him, I don't think I would have healed this way. Like, I've healed a lot in the past. Like, my family and my friends, they say you're a different person. Like, I'm happier. I think meeting, if you you may not, if you find somebody who respects you, or even then and they can help you heal and realize that, there's moments in your life that, being vulnerable or letting go of the past and being open to someone that's giving you the same kind of love that you deserve is a really healing process. And I didn't realize that. Like, the more I've talked to you, the more I'm like, oh Lord, I gotta give this man props. Like, it's not even interesting. I'm not giving you props. Listen to me carefully. I'm not giving you props. But go ahead. Sorry, Kristen.
I love that you said that, because honestly, you sharing that, I could feel that. Like, it's not just us talking face to face. I actually felt that when you said that, because there's something magical about being with someone who can see you and hear you for exactly who you are, because they are comfortable with who they are. And there's something magical and healing when you have those kinds of relationships, whether it's in a relationship, a friendship, a partnership, your family. It doesn't matter where it comes from. But when you have 1 or 2 people in your life that can sit with you in that space, right? Because hurt needs to be heard before it can be healed. So until you can express yourself truthfully and honestly, it's just many people haven't felt that. They haven't had those people in their life, or they haven't had an opportunity to do that, or they don't trust enough to be able to do that. So I love that you are in a relationship and with a man who has done that work for himself and holds that space for you.
No. He didn't do his work for himself. Don't give him props. He did not do his work for himself. Don't do that. I said he helped me. It's vice versa.
And it's so great. The people that we meet in our lives, honestly, we meet each other because we're either there to learn or we're there to learn, or we're there to share something, right?
I think I heard a saying that, people come in your life for a season, a lifetime, or something like that, right?
A season, or a
lifetime. And hopefully this is a lifetime, but I knew for a reason he came in my life. But I'm not talking about me. I'm thinking the reason why I'm bringing this up is that a lot of people don't realize that they're in a situation where they're stuck. They may have come out of a bad relationship, and they're just thinking, okay, you know what? I'm not going to trust anybody, this and this. But you haven't healed. You haven't acknowledged it. And sometimes if you don't even realize that you're in that position until you meet somebody that actually in a sense, helps you heal, because they accept you for who you are. And then you start to let go of a lot of anger and mistrusting yourself, and you open up, and then you become the person you deserve to be. Oh. Does that make sense? Like, I
couldn't say that any better. That was beautiful.
It's just, you can't, like, I see it. And I think I want whoever's listening, I think what I really want to bring across, even for Kirsten, like, if you're struggling, you don't know you're struggling, you're stuck in a certain situation, reach out to Kirsten, reach out to someone, because you have to understand where you're stuck at is not who you are. You become a different person, and you open up and you get to meet people like Kirsten, you get to meet people like other, and you get to live life on your own terms, and you're happy. And you de-age, girl. I'm telling you, de-age. You understand how people told me I look younger? I look younger. I let go of the grief. Grief, God.
Grief is heavy. Grief
Oh,
is heavy. And so
yes.
you're so right when you say that. And so being able to let go of that heavy load, that's the transformation. That's where it's life changing. And so perfectly what you said, because I always say this, that we are meant to live life fully expressed and emotionally free. And like you said so beautifully, that's who you are here to be. That is the goal. And so however we need to do that, and grief recovery method is just another tool. There's many tools that can be used, but this is one avenue that I know a lot of people aren't aware of. So I am so grateful to you, Mo. Thank you so much for letting me share this.
Thank you for this, because I think for me, I learned a lot. And it's like one of the reason why I like this platform itself is I get to grow as well as learning from people and I didn't realize that what I went through was grief. Remember I told you when I first met you, like I thought grief itself was related to like death or stuff like that, but I didn't realize what I went through was actual grief. And I think a lot of people need to understand there's a misconception of the terminology of grief. And conversation is very helpful because it helps me, it helps whoever's listening, because then you can actually learn how to communicate with other people and see that it's not, they're going through something, they don't realize it, and they need to learn to, like, you can help them out, you can direct them, and go listen to podcasts or go get somebody that needs to help you out. With that said, I don't want to keep you long. Is there anything else you want to add or say?
No, I think we handled it great. I think this was an amazing conversation. I feel like
Yes.
every time like you and I speak, it's just like connected. Like I feel you, right? And I love what you do. And I love that, I don't know. I just think it's so awesome what you do.
Thank you for joining us today on our weekly episode of Health Your Way podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, share with others, and please feel free to comment below and ask any questions on topics we discussed, as well as future topics you'd like to hear about. Have a happy and healthy week, and be sure to tune in next week for the next episode on a Health Your Way podcast.